Hey everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. We are here for the final episode of Ready to Love. So this is season 4, episode 12, One Last Assignment. So for those of you that have been rocking with me this entire season, thank you. Welcome once again. If you have not already subscribed, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you all can be ready for next week, which is going to be the reunion, which looks like it's going to be a hot mess. It just does. It looks like it's going to be a hot mess. So let's go ahead and get into the episode, y'all. So it starts off with Sydney being out at dinner with Phil. The two are on a date. And remember, last episode, she asked Shiloh would she mind if she had a conversation with Phil about what happened between the two of them. She wanted to get some clarity about that situation for herself. Shiloh agreed. Shiloh told her, go ahead, girl. Do whatever you need to do, for your situation. Phil said that they each have different recollections about what happened that night. He said that it's not that he wanted to pick her up, and he did try to get her to come back, but he picked her up and brought her back to a place where he felt that she was safe at. He said if it seems like it's something that's still troubling her, something that is still affecting her, so he is willing to definitely apologize again so that there's no bad feelings, no mixed feelings. As I've stated in my review last week, I don't think that it was really the issue of him picking her up. I think it was the issue that he did not choose her. Shiloh didn't hear what she wanted to hear, so she chose to turn around and make past traumas and try to weaponize them and make Phil out to look like he purposely did something to hurt her when that's just not the case, in my opinion. So Phil said that Sydney said that it has not changed her opinion of him, and whatever questions that she had about him going into this and about the situation have all been answered, and the conversation has made them closer. Phil said that it's amazing to have somebody that will see through the bull, that will see through the drama and see your true authentic self. So everything is all clear and in the good with them. It'll be until the reunion. Then everything is going to get brought back up again. So we have Sabrina, who is at the brunch. They have the brunch before the decision. Sabrina walks in with this wig on. And while the wig does make her look younger than that dark hair does, to me, it doesn't work. Something about it seems very costumey. I don't know. I didn't care for the wig, but Walter was pointing out how everyone is coupled up around the brunch, and he mentions that Frank is sitting down talking to Sydney and talking to Moomin, and Sydney is also talking to Phil. And he it's a little shady with the way that he's like, yeah, people are still picking this late into the process, and it's like, don't do that, because your shit not even that solid for you to be doing that. But okay. So Frank is sitting with Sydney and Moomin, and he said that he gets nervous when Sydney brings up the fact that he's still making a decision. And like I've said before, one thing about Frank is whenever they ask him about dating someone else, he gets super, super nervous. This is a dating show. You're going to be dating other people. I don't know why Frank always gets super, super uncomfortable and super nervous. But both Sydney and Moomin said that they're not uncomfortable at all by the three of them sitting around together. That's fine for them. I think it's because they have already been in situations where they have been with when the men had to introduce an ex to them. A lot of them were on double dates then, so they were like, it's fine, we don't feel a way about this. So Sabrina is talking to Walter, and she asks him if he has any doubts. Do you have any regrets about anything that has transpired about your pick, about picking me, about, not working with or not still choosing to date other women? And Walter says that no, the universe reveals to him what he needs to know. He is on his this. So he kind of feels that the way that Moomin behaved around with the whole piano situation, how she took the phone conversation. To him, those were all things that the universe was bringing to him, and that opened his eyes to everything. So Sabrina, however, feels that his energy has been weird. She has mentioned a couple of times throughout the past couple of episodes that Walter does not communicate with her. He doesn't text her. He doesn't reach out to her. No text, no phone calls, no anything. So she kind of feels like his energy is off. His energy is weird. She's not even really sure if, he really wants to be with her. So Tommy shows up, tells them that the men are going to be introducing the women to their families. So he's like, pick the family members that are going to go in on these women, that are going to ask the right questions, and, lean into their advice so you can find out what is working, what's not working. What do you think would be the best route for you to take? So we start with Frank, all right? Frank has his cousins, one who looks like she's 12, and then another older male cousin. He brings both Sydney and Moomin to meet. Sydney came in right away and was like, so what's he like what would he be like as a father? And Frank cuts her off and is like, let's go eat first. But the conversation with Sydney, I think, seems to flow extremely, extremely well with Frank and his family. Sydney is a person who you can tell she knows how to work a room. She has one of those spirits where if she's meeting you, everyone's going to be drawn to her. She's a good conversationalist. You can just tell that she knows how to adapt to different conversations, to different people as they arise. I don't know what her job is, but you can just tell that that's the type of person that she is. So they ask Sydney, how do you feel about Frank having a lot of friends, specifically a lot of female friends? And she says that she understands that because of the nature of his job. He's always on the bar scene, so he's going to have a lot of friends, but he always makes her feel confident. He always makes the person that he's with feel confident and secure within themselves, so she doesn't, she's not tripping about that. So they ask Sydney, since you're dating someone else and, still going through this process, what is it about Frank that you're drawn to? Why are you even entertaining Frank? She says that they're like the same person. They have similar personalities. They can feed off of each other. They can read each other's energy. And above everything, they have a solid friendship already. So they knew each other prior to this. I don't think not as far as like friends, but at least in passing. So they knew each other already. So that just kind of helped elevate them to that next level. Sydney then flips it and asks, where does Frank need to show growth? What can he do to, grow within himself, emotionally, whatever. His 12-year-old cousin says that Frank is perfect. Frankie is perfect. And I said, oh, girl. And then his older male cousin said that he's perfect as well because he has already grown a lot and matured into the man that he is right now. So there's no like real growth that needs to happen. And see, I just feel like stuff like that's misleading because for one, no one is perfect. Two, everyone can grow in some area of their life, right? Whether it's like, let's work on communication, which I believe his ex-girlfriend said, whether it's working on communication, working on empathy, working on, you know what I mean? Like, you can always grow in some aspect of your personality. So I hated that they didn't give her a real answer, even if it's as simple as he needs to work on doing his laundry right away. You know what I mean? Like, it's little things like that it's just kind of, to me, is always like, we don't really want to put out the real onto our cousin because we know that he wants to date you. So let's not give, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that. So when they talk about Moomin, they ask her, how does she feel about kids? She says she wants to have at least 3. The older she gets, 3 is a good number that she settled on. Because she is very religious and spiritual herself, she wants her kids raised in the church. And then they just kind of let her know that he is ready to love. He's at that place now where he's ready to take on a serious relationship, possibly a wife, and start to build that part of his life. And he just needs someone that is going to be a great support system for him. Okay? So he asks his family, like, between the two, which way are we flowing? And his cousin says that personality-wise, it's definitely Sydney. You know, she's a person that has a good personality. She, like I said, she's very warm. She's inviting. She's genuine with everything that she says. On the flip side, when it comes to family values, they feel like Moomin is a better fit. And I said, okay, because Sydney does give a bit of a, I'm still a party girl. I still go out and like kick it and party tease. So maybe, I feel like maybe that's why that they were kind of like, we're going to go with Moomin on this. But they like both of them, and they just tell Frank that ultimately this is up to you. So we have Walter. He, of course, brings Sabrina to meet his sister and his aunt. So they ask Sabrina, so tell us about yourself. She said, oh, well, I was born in, Seoul, Korea. And they were like, is it Seoul, Korea? I think it's pronounced Seoul. Skip what I said. I think it's Seoul, Korea. And they kind of look, and he was like, that is not what I said. I told them you were born in Virginia. And I think that small, minute detail is what solidified Sabrina's later answer. I do. I think that was kind of the final nail in the coffin. You know what I mean? You don't even remember where the F I was born at. So that was like, to me, that was strike one. That was strike one in this conversation with the family that started to push her towards the ain't gonna happen column, right? So then she said that she was initially attracted to Walter's aura. From the moment that she saw him, she was just immediately attracted to his aura and knew that he was someone that she wanted to spend some time and space with. So she then asks, is Walter affectionate? And, how is he in relationships? And his was it his aunt or his sister? But they're like, oh yeah, he's very affectionate in relationships. So Sabrina says in her confessional, Walter has not been affectionate at all with her. She sees the other couple, the men always have, their hand on the woman's thigh, or, wrapped around, or, just the small, like, rubbing someone's arm. There are little minute details that I feel like men do that shows that they're really feeling you and they like you. And Walter is not doing that with Sabrina. So that causes her to be like, what the F? Again, strike two. So then his sister asked if they had a discussion about kids. And Sabrina says that she has a daughter already. And she has explained to her daughter that, mommy might meet someone, and she doesn't want her daughter to get super attached to this man for them to break up. And that's a very real fear that a lot of single parents have, specifically single mothers that have like primary custody of their children. I don't want my child to get attached to this man who might not be here, or who might, jump up and leave, or we break up, especially if their father has walked out on the relationship, or even walked out on the child already. So she says in the confessional that she's not necessarily ready for Walter to meet her daughter. To me, that was strike three. I don't have kids, but I feel like as long as they've been talking and going through this, if you're not even somewhat close to being like, I can see you meeting my daughter in another month or two, after we've gone out on some more dates, we can ease it in somehow. We meet at the mall, or we meet at the mall, or we meet at like an amusement park, like, miniature golf or something like that. But the fact that she's like, I'm not ready for him too, that's a huge strike. So to me, that's strike three. And I think she kind of realized that during that conversation. So Sabrina leaves, and his sister said that she's different than the girls that we have seen you date before. How do you feel about that? And Walter said that he likes her as a person, and they had an instant connection. And I feel like Walter just held on to that connection because he didn't have a connection with anybody else. I don't think Walter was truly feeling Sabrina like that. I don't think he really saw a future with her. I think he initially thought she was pretty. They vibed, which, they could just be really good friends. But they vibed on that level. And Sabrina was, I won't say she was aggressive with him, but she was very possessive with him initially, and he didn't get the chance to, really engage with and meet other women. Because I think him and Mumin would have been good together, but he kind of pushed her away. So now it's like, this is my only connection that's left, so I'm going to just be all in on her because I think she's all in on me. I don't think it was a genuine connection on Walter's end. So we have Dante. Dante has his cousin and his brother. And they ask Aisha, what brought her down to Chocolate City? What brought you down here? She said that she was down here when she divorced her husband. She's been single for the past 2 years. She wants to give her kids time to, acclimate to the fact that mommy and daddy are no longer together. A lot of times you hear, especially when someone has younger kids, that the kids will blame themselves for the divorce. I am luckily a product of two parents that are still married. Like, my parents have been married for 43 years. They've been together for like 46 years. So I don't know what that is like, but I have had friends who their parents have gotten divorced when we were in middle school or even high school, and kids definitely somehow feel like they played a part in it. So Aisha wants to give her kids a chance to settle into what's going on before she opened that up, because she doesn't want someone else to break up with them as well. So they asked her, like, what drew you to Dante? Like, what made y'all have this connection? She likes that he's attentive. He listens to her, and he's funny. He makes her laugh. So she feels that, so she goes into a little rant here. She feels that the man should hold down the house, and it should be the woman's choice if she wants to work or not. She is not going to go 50-50 on the bill. She says she'll pay a bill or two, but she wants to lean into her femininity, and her role is where you're out working and you're making the money and you're taking care of that type of stuff. You come home and my job is to love on you and have dinner ready and stuff like that. So Aisha is okay with playing the role of a housewife. She's perfectly fine with that. And Dante's brother was like, well, we grew up in a single parent home, raised by our mother. She taught us how to do everything. She did carpentry. And it shouldn't have been funny, but it was the way that he said it. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, she taught us carpentry. She taught us, like, how to do things that an electrician would do. And Aisha was like, that's cool. I can do all of that too, but the man should leave the house. And she's not going 50-50, basically. Dante said it would be an adjustment for him to leave the household. So that means that if Dante was with some of his kids' mothers, if they were living together in a household, he wasn't leading that household. Everything was 50-50. And I think that's going to be a big adjustment for Dante, especially if they do go further into the relationship and Aisha's kids are living with him. Like, I think that's going to be a very big adjustment with him. Very big adjustment. But I like Dante and I like Aisha together, so I'm cool with it. So then we get to Phil. He has his aunt and his cousin. His cousin is super hard on people. He knows that she's going to ask a lot of questions. Sydney comes in a very inappropriate dress for the occasion. Sydney, I feel like anytime she wears a dress, her breasts are hanging out. It's always some type of body part cut out, which is fine. They're cute dresses, but you're meeting his family. You're not meeting like some of his friends that are around your age. You're meeting an aunt. So I just kind of feel like Sydney got to get, so I want to say something a little more business casual, but just something more family appropriate. But Sydney comes in and they're gushing about how pretty she is, how gorgeous she is. Sydney comes in, she hugs them right away, warm and inviting. And she says that To her, this feels like a make or break moment. You know what I mean? This is going to ultimately help her decide if she wants to choose Frank or if she wants to choose Phil. And hopefully that Phil chooses her. So they're asking her, what is it that you're most attracted to about Phil? She said he has a very quiet strength. He's quiet when he needs to be, but he can also be talkative. And she's like, yeah, because we talk on the phone, for 2 hours at a time. And his cousin was like, really? Okay. So are you dating anyone else? And she said, well, yeah, there is someone else that she is entertaining at the moment. And her cousin asked, if you had not met Phil, would you be with that person? And I like that Sydney took the time to think about the answer, and she didn't just blurt out no and lie. You know what I mean? So she said, well, her and Frank are friends. They had an instant connection. They have similar friends. They run in the same areas. So they click on that type of level. But Phil is a totally different feel for her. It's a sense of calm. It's a sense of peace. And it just makes her feel comfortable. And that's a great thing to want to hear, that you feel like someone's home to them. You know what I mean? So Phil is like blushing. Side note, Phil has to go get a facial. Because this blemish, this like little acne patch, has been on him for the past couple episodes. Now I don't know the exact time frame with this, but he really needs to just get a nice facial. Go get you a scrub from the Ulta, the Sephora. Hell, go to Target, get you a nice scrub, and then just work that out, because it's a blockage there that is very, it's hard to not look at. You know what I mean? So after Sydney leaves, they ask Phil, where does he see himself long term with her? He said he sees her there for the long term, but he knows that she does still have to choose. He recognizes that. So he's, hoping that she chooses him. So we get to, is theirs called decision day? We get to choosing day, right? So Walter, we see Walter on this bridge. He's throwing rose petals, setting the scene. And I could just tell the way they were shooting it, this is not going to work for him. So Sabrina walks up, and Walter tells her that they created a friendship instantly, and they were able to separate themselves from all the drama. And I'm like, what drama was surrounding y'all? There was no drama surrounding y'all. If you're referring to him and Moomin having a conversation, that's not drama. But they said they were able to separate themselves from the drama that was surrounding them, and he tells her that he chooses her. And Sabrina said that she sat with herself for the past 24 hours and she replayed the entire process. And she realized that during this process, she never felt happy. She was never happy, because even though she always kept Walter as her number one, she always felt like she was his number two. And he's looking at her dumbfounded. But see, I don't know if Sabrina has never expressed to him how she was feeling, or if she was just hoping to see changed behavior. But she said that he was inconsistent constantly. He never called or communicated with her, and because of that, she's gonna pick herself, and she did not choose him back. And he was kind of like, he looked dumbfounded. And he took it graciously, and he was just like, okay. But in his confessional, he was like, I don't know where this is coming from. We could be cool just as friends, but she made her decision, and that's fine. So as she's walking away, he's like, okay, well, you call me. And she says, yeah, I'll have to call you because you sure don't call my ass. And I feel like Sabrina has been very passive aggressive all season, because unless I'm just not remembering, but I do not remember a time where she specifically sat Walter down and said that you aren't doing this, that, and the other. I feel like every conversation where they have and they're talking, it's very surface level about how their connection is strong and how their connection is strong. But I just don't recall them getting into anything too deep that will cause them to want to choose each other to be together and continue their journey. So, all right, so that's them. Sydney meets with Phil. He chooses her, and then she says, here's the thing. And I said, I know you ain't choosing Frank. But she said that he gives her butterflies, he's kind, all this other type of stuff, etc., etc. And she was hoping that he chose her because she is definitely choosing him. And it looks like he has like a box. He gives her a bracelet. I think he has a matching one. And they're going to go right off into the sunset. Moomin meets with Frank. Frank and Moomin both choose each other. That is not going to work. It's not going to work, one, because Frank has said he's a very sexual being. Moomin wants to wait to have sex, for one. For two, they both settled for each other. Frank knew that Sydney was leaning more towards Phil. Moomin was kind of Moomin was kind of forced upon Frank. She forced herself upon Frank, I should say, because Walter stopped pursuing her. They were both each other's like second or third choices, and that's just where they ended up. But we see at the reunion, she's going in on him, saying he was not consistent. He didn't do anything that he said that he was going to do. Then we have Dante and Aisha. They both choose each other. We got a very slow montage of like mosquitoes and gnats flying around their heads. I don't know why they thought that was a great sequence. It wasn't like it was fireflies or anything. But next week is the reunion. From the clip we saw. We see Camilla's line and saying that she did not say she was going to kick anybody's ass or F anybody up if they put Cornelius in the bottom two again, which we blatantly saw her do. So I hope they rolled that beautiful bean footage, as always. And it's just a lot of tears. We see Tasia crying. We see Moomin crying. We see it's a lot of tears. What is going on? What happened, everybody? Were they drinking before? Because everybody's like very, very emotional. But it should be good. So if you have not already, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it. Hop into the comment section. Let me know who you think is still together out of the three couples that chose each other. And I will catch you guys in the next one.